The mountain remained hidden all day. Until it gave us one final gift. Every journey eventually arrives at a destination, but the most meaningful ones leave us with something far more valuable than photographs. There are some places that live in a photographer's imagination long before they ever appear in front of a lens. For us, Khan Tengri was one of those places. Long before sunrise, we made our way toward Tuzkol Lake. The road disappeared into darkness, dust swirled behind the vehicles, and once again, a crescent moon guided us deeper into the darkness across a landscape that felt boundless and wild. As the first light of dawn appeared, the mountain slowly emerged from the shadows. The silence was profound. Broken only by the gentle wind and the anticipation of what lay ahead. Tuzkol is one of those rare places where the boundary between earth and sky seems to disappear. The still water reflected the morning light. The salt flats revealed patterns sculpted by wind, water, and time. And from above, the landscape transformed into something entirely different. Abstract shapes emerged. Colors blended together in ways that seemed almost impossible. Some resembled paintings. Others looked like fragments of an ancient story written across the earth itself. And for a photographer, it was impossible not to be captivated. As the morning unfolded, conversations turned toward plans for the day,
all right,
locations,
what do we have tonight?
light, possibilities.
So we have an amazing gorge called with the Khan Tengri, the beautiful mountain, the most beautiful mountain in Kazakhstan, the perfect with the braided rivers, and also Ayok with some nice flowers. And it will be the last sunset of the photo tour. Fortunately, what do you think about it, Artie?
Oh, it has been fantastic.
Yeah.
Just spectacular.
It is very sad.
We will have more adventures.
Yeah, we will have
Many more adventures.
Many.
All right, Alora, let's go. Let's do it.
Photography often appears to be a solitary pursuit, yet some of my favorite moments happen long before the shutter is ever pressed. The shared excitement, the exchange of ideas, the anticipation of what might be waiting around the next bend in the road. Travel has a remarkable way of bringing people together through a common sense of curiosity. And photography gives us an excuse to keep exploring.
So, are you having fun?
I just found what looks like a bonsai. This crusty trunk, about 4 inches long, and then green at the end of it.
Ooh.
It's like, okay, don't step on me.
Beyond Tuzkol, the road carried us toward one of the most remote corners of the journey, toward the borderlands where Kazakhstan meets China. The farther we traveled, the simpler the world seemed to become. Endless valleys, towering peaks, dusty roads stretching toward the horizon. Eventually, we reached the border crossing itself, a place where cameras were no longer allowed. Armed guards watched over a landscape few travelers ever see. Yet even here, there was a warmth and a hospitality that reminded us once again of the people we had encountered throughout our trip in Kazakhstan. Beyond the checkpoint, we entered a remote stretch of land between nations. A rugged glacial valley tucked deep within the mountains. The road was rough, the landscape increasingly wild, and somewhere ahead, Khan Tengri. This would be our final opportunity to see it up close, our final chance to say goodbye. As we entered the valley, the mountains rose higher around us. Glacial rivers cut through the landscape. Clouds drifted across the peaks, and, for a moment, it felt as though we had reached the edge of the world. The scenery was extraordinary. Yet, despite everything, even here, at the closest point we would come to Khan Tengri during the entire journey, the mountain remained elusive, appearing for a few brief moments, then disappearing once again behind the clouds. We waited, we photographed, we hoped, but eventually it became clear that the mountain would keep its secrets for another day. And so, we turned back, grateful for the experience, yet quietly disappointed. As photographers, we learn that nature does not operate on our schedule. Sometimes the photograph we envision simply isn't meant to happen. And sometimes, well, that has to be enough. Standing in such a remote place surrounded by mountains that have witnessed centuries of history, it became impossible not to reflect on what photography has taught me throughout this journey. Photography is not really about collecting images, it's about collecting moments of attention. It teaches us to slow down, to notice, to see beauty where we might otherwise pass by without even a second glance. And perhaps most importantly, it teaches us presence. By now, Julianne had begun to experience that for herself. Watching her discover photography throughout this journey became one of my favorite parts of the expedition. Not because of any particular image, but because of the way photography encourages us to engage more deeply with the world around us, to become curious, to become present, to truly see. Of course, not every memorable moment involved grand landscapes. Sometimes Kazakhstan simply had a way of surprising us. Even in the high mountains where snow-capped peaks dominated the horizon and horses roamed freely across the valleys, we occasionally encountered scenes that felt wonderfully out of place. Like a group of horses calmly standing inside a children's playground surrounded by swings, slides, and enough questions to keep us entertained for the rest of the day. Moments like this become a reminder that travel isn't only about the extraordinary, it's also about the unexpected, the small surprises. The moments of humor and the stories that could never have been planned. Then, on our final morning in the mountains, the journey offered one last gift. As we made our way back toward Almaty, we passed by Tuzkol Lake and we spotted a lone herder moving across the landscape with his horses. Beyond him stood the majestic Khan Tengri, rising above the horizon like a great stone pyramid. We immediately pulled the vehicles to the side of the road, grabbed our cameras, and ran. For a few brief moments, everything aligned. The mountains, the light, the horses, the landscape, the photograph. It was the kind of moment photographers dream about, a reminder that patience, preparation, and a little bit of luck often work together in ways we can never predict. Yet standing there, I realized something. The mountain itself was not the destination. Not really. Khan Tengri was simply the final chapter in a much larger story. A story about curiosity, patience, connection, and perspective. The very things that have been quietly shaping this journey from the moment we left home. Eventually, the road led us back to Almaty, back to the city, back to the schedules, back to the ordinary life. But before saying goodbye, we gathered one final time. Photographers, guides, drivers, friends, sharing stories, laughter, memories, and reflecting on everything we had experienced together. Travel often begins with landscapes, but it ends with people. The guides who welcomed us into their country, the friendships formed along the way, the conversations shared around meals, the moments between photographs that somehow become the memories we cherish most. Yes, the photographs will remain, so will the memories. But what stays with me most is something harder to describe. A renewed sense of wonder, a reminder that the world is far larger, far more beautiful, and far more connected than we often allow ourselves to believe. And perhaps that is reason enough to keep exploring, to remain curious, and to never stop seeking moments of awe. The world is waiting, and there are still stories left to discover. So remember, keep chasing the light, keep chasing the wonder, and keep chasing the awe.